This episode is brought to you by the High Performance Academy. More on them later.
Well, when you pull the brake, it does apply the brake, but it also, when it does that, it applies that clutch. It disconnects their rear wheels. Help these guys out. Help these kids out. Who the hell do you think you were when you were 15? You were that dumb kid too.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Minnoxide podcast. I'm your host, Harris, aka Minnoxide, man of many automotive aspirations, and I am here with my never-ending, Ford-loving co-host. It took us an hour. Guys, it took us an hour and a half to start this podcast because this guy cannot stop talking about Fords.
Yeah.
But we are. You can guess what we're going to talk about today, and we are here with Mark Mcdonald of G-Force Fab. I get that right?
That's right. That's right.
Nailed it.
Yep.
It's been a nice long day and a nice long trip.
Yeah. No, it's been a day for sure. So it's been rainy and hot and everything all in one. So
Oh yeah.
weather's kind of shitty here.
Dude, we drove through a monsoon on the way here. That was some of the
yeah.
worst rain I've seen probably in a couple of years. So,
Nice.
anywho, you do some pretty cool stuff over here, but I'll let you make your own introduction. Tell us a little bit about what it is that you do.
Okay.
And we'll just kind of go from there.
For sure, yeah. I've been working at my shop on my own for going on 3 years now. I left Detroit Speed after 11 years after Holly bought it, and it's pretty public. They didn't really do the best job at handling some of the business they bought, and a lot of us left or got showed the door or several things. But it's all good, man. I haven't looked back since, and I've been doing this. But the job at Detroit Speed brought me up from Georgia, and before I worked at Detroit Speed, I was working for year one, doing the same stuff. And then, before that, I worked at a couple of Mustang shops, mostly Fox body stuff. So Fox bodies is a big part of my history and background. So, that's why me and him are, we're already best friends. So,
Our first car I ever went and got with my uncle and my dad was an 80 Cobra. The 2.3 carbureted,
Right.
Turbo. It was a piece of shit, but it was cool.
It was the greatest car ever, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, sure was.
Yeah.
It's like you two matched on it's like Tinder, but for Fox body guys.
Yeah,
It's just like, swipe right, this guy.
Yep. So, but it's amazing how those cars, this day, how much money they bring for a basic car.
Yeah.
They're as long as they're not rusty and beat up, they bring pretty good money. I've got a 90 coupe I've had since I bought it was like 97, and I paid $6,000 for that car, and it's a SSP car, and it's in pretty good shape. You guys seen it, and it belongs to my youngest son Charlie now. He's redoing it, but that car right now, the way it sits, that car bring probably double what I paid for it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
I do love that color too. I hope somebody does a GTD in that color.
yeah.
It's Yeah, I mean, if you think about investment long-term wise, that's not a very good return, but it is kind of nice that it is worth double.
And
that.
LMR, man, those guys have really, the last 4 years is just mind-blowing at the amount of new products that's come out for these cars. And when I worked for Mustang Parts Specialties, and we'd get a Fox body in that was pretty mini, and there were specific things we'd get off that car and made sure that, all right, we got to take care of this. This is big money items, big ticket items, and we'd always take care of them. Now you can just buy it.
Yeah.
It's and it's there. You got Dennis Carpenter. He has a lot of the Ford tooling. Like we bought a bumper cover for my other son's car, and it has all the Ford insignias and everything on it, and it is a Ford part, and it fits really nice. But it's just great. You can buy all these parts for these cars now. And it just makes the market stronger in the hobby, just way better. And these kids are getting into it, and that's the car of our age, So that's we've got a little bit of money. No, we're not rich, but we got irresponsible money that we can spend on them now. So
they're coming up with as long as you're not buying a Cobra R, they're still kind of within grasp.
There's that car too, So.
Well, take me back a little bit here, right? So I kind of want to hear your story then. So how did you break into this industry? Where did this all begin for you?
All right, so I'm second generation hot rodder. So
Okay.
My dad, he's a Mustang guy. He at an early age, well, for my whole early age of childhood, he had a a 67 Fastback. It was an S-Code big block 4-speed car. And that was his daily driver for forever. I remember as a kid, that's all we had to drive. We rode around in a big block Mustang everywhere, you know. So, and it just transformed into that. You know, my dad is with you and me, we all, you know, you can't have just one, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You got to have more than one. So, and that he got into buying cars to part out, cars to fix. And that kind of spurred my interest in it, you know, because this is all I've ever known. I've never worked at a fast food restaurant or anything. I've done this, you know. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, that's got that started. And like I touched a little bit ago, you know, out of high school, I worked, part-time in high school, I worked at a body shop. And he was a friend of my dad, and he was also a Mustang guy too. Okay. So, you know, we all stick together, you know. But, you know, and it got me introduced into what the depth of things are, you know, how you do things. You know, we had wrecks come in, you take them apart, you straighten things, you put new parts on, you know, you fix things. And it was more than just mechanical stuff, it was everything. So that got it got me a little more experience on how cars were held together, how they're put together. Then in high school, I was in an apprenticeship program where they had a lot of machine jobs, you know. So after the body shop for a while, I got a job through the program. In high school, I worked at a machine shop. Okay. And that's where I really learned to run mills and lathes and welders and stuff like that, you know, just hands-on working at different places. And, you know, and of course, you know, with any car guy, you know, you got the one friend you always take stuff to that welds things for you anyway. Yeah. So, you know, and I always watched my dad's friend that done that, you know, and I was always intrigued by that too. And I can't say that I was always more intrigued about the fabrication stuff than I was actually putting cars together. So,
why do you think that was? Like, what about it?
I don't really know. I think it was just the fact of, you know, for a long time we were buying junk cars. Back then you couldn't buy new parts for some of these 60s cars. Okay. So, you know, you were cutting this piece off of that car, you'd take it to my dad's friend, he would weld this piece to fix it, and we'd put it back on there. And I was like, well, that's the coolest thing ever. You know, if you can't find it, you make it, you know. And I was just really, that really took me at an early age, just knowing that you could do those things. And like I said, later on, I worked at those shops. I walked into a shop and I was like, I know what those things did, but I didn't know how to use them. Sure. And then I already know how I could apply those machines to do what I wanted to do. So, and that didn't last long, you know, production machine and stuff didn't last long. And my brother started a shop. He had a performance tires, wheel, stereo shop in our local town. And, you know, I started working for him, doing a lot of, you know, weld-on suspension stuff, exhaust, and we'd do superchargers, nitrous kits, and stuff like that. And that really got me into the high-performance side of things, the bolt-on stuff, you know. Then we had a guy that came in. He had a 95 Cobra that had a built motor, had an S-trim Vortec, and it was pulleyed up and everything, big cam, and you know what that sounds like. Yep. You know, you put I forget what size small pulley on the top it was. I mean, it was super small, big cam, and you could hear it was the old school Vortec that was a straight cut gear, so it sounded great. Yeah. And you could hear it with the cam, you know. Yeah. And I was like, what is that, you know? So he's like, oh, the shop in a few towns over built this. I was like, really? I was like, that's cool. He's like, well, they're looking for a helper over there. I was like, you serious? So I was like, man, I'm a dumb kid. They're not going to hire me. You know, so, you know, but that's just it. I don't know anything else with cars. And I walk in there and I was like talking to the guys and all, and they're asking me questions. And they were really, you know, at that time I was I was just right out of high school. I just graduated. So, maybe I was like 18 at the time or something, 19. And they were like really impressed that a kid could talk the talk, you know what things were. And me, I'm thinking I'm just a stupid kid. They're not going to talk, you know. So they hired me. So, and before you know it, they was like, hey, could you, we need to pull the transmission out of this car. We need to do that. I was like, okay. And one particular job, I remember the first car, it was a long time ago, NMCA had a class, they had EFI 11. And there was a guy had a silver Fox body coupe, 347, and it was a 5-speed car. They converted it to a C4 with a trans brake, and that's the first time I ever really introduced into that kind of stuff, trans brakes and stuff. So they had me to put that car together, and it's like, they was really impressed that I could put it together and I was done it right. I didn't leave nothing loose, or I knew where things went.
You didn't have a bunch of bolts.
I didn't have a bunch of bolts left over,
Yeah, the bucket.
And I put the quarter stick in with the trans brake, and I read the instructions, the 2-step and the MSD controller and all everything, and I had it all wired up. And one of the guys was like, dude, did you really do that? And I was like, yeah. I was like, this thing's cool. It does this and this and this. And he's looking at me, he's like, so you understand how that works? And I'm like, yes, I do. So at that point, I got a raise that day. So, and it just went from there. I got more and more complicated projects to do. So, but yeah, and then, I worked there for a while, and then eventually I went to work at Year One. My brother, he still works there. And they were building some the Bandit Trans Ams at the time, and they were building some track cars where they were doing a TV series, Are You Faster Than a Redneck? So it was a 67 Mustang, a 69 Camaro, a 77 Trans Am, a 70 Dodge Challenger. They had all these muscle cars, but they had to be caged. They had to have good suspension on them and a decent powertrain, but they were trying to get these cars together, and they weren't show cars. These were purpose-built, straight to the point, functional track cars. And I was moonlighting, going over there doing cage work for them. And one thing led to another. It's like, hey, you want a job? I'm like, well maybe. So anyway, I got hired there, and that really got that next step of fabrication into cars and building stuff like this.
Sure.
If you want to learn more about fabrication and design but don't know where to start, our partners at the High Performance Academy can get you going. With over 100 videos relating to motorsport fabrication, TIG welding, and 3D design, it's the perfect place to expand your skill sets. Listeners of the show get a huge 55% off discount, so go ahead and use the link in the description to get you started today. Let's get back to the show.
So
when did you officially end up over there then?
I forget what year that was. That was in 2006 maybe.
Sure. Okay.
Maybe. So I'm skipping over a bunch of stuff, but it's just
we'll be back.
Yeah, I'm just hitting the high points.
Sure.
So but that really got me in there, and I worked there for a couple of years, and then through the TV show that we did, Are You Faster Than Redneck? So Speed Vision had that show for a little bit, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say I was part of it. I got to drive the cars, one of the couple of the cars and stuff. So there's a guy with a Subaru, and I look back and I should have hit that kid. Like we were at Kershaw. I don't know if you've ever been to Kershaw, which is a Carolina Motorsports Park. So the last turn before the straightaway, it is a dead, flat, 90-degree turn. The guy with the Subaru, he comes and cuts me off and comes in front of me, just cuts me off. And I'm blocking the brakes up and trying not to hit him. And I thought back and I said, I should have hit this joker. It didn't matter to me. It wasn't my car. They're not going to do anything. And then I lost the race. But it was all fun and games. But he gets out and he's like, dude, I'm so happy that you didn't hit me. He said, I deserved every bit of it. And I'm like, at that point, I was like, I should have hit him. So anyway, but I didn't. He had a lot of work in his car, and I respect that. But he was driving in the moment, like we both were. So I had to be the nice guy. But anyway.
Subaru with work in it. Who would have guessed?
Yeah.
But it was a fast car, man. It was fast.
Sure.
He couldn't get me on the straightaways, but he could throw down in the turns and stuff. That's how he got underneath me. But anyway. Kyle Tucker from Detroit Speed was there he was part of the program too. He had his car there driving, and we'd talk a little bit, and I knew him before. We're doing some track days and stuff through other events and shows, and we were talking, and eventually he had me up for an interview, and I came to work for him. That was Man, what was that? 2011, maybe 12.
When you went to Detroit
When
Speed?
I went to Detroit Speed, yep. And I came to work there, and like I said, I was there for 11 years, and eventually I was project shop foreman, so I overseen all the builds,
Sure.
called all the shots, helped a lot of the guys out, and just made sure the builds were on track with what they were needed to be done.
And how many builds were getting kicked out, like every month or year or whatever?
We would kick out about, I would say, 2 builds a year. And that's pretty good, man, because we would get cars in and strip them down to nothing.
Sure.
And, full suspension, every built drivetrain, tons of body mods, just go through the car, every little thing about the car. The cars, as I tell everybody, we didn't build show cars. We built cars that you could show, but these were purpose-built cars to haul ass. They weren't show cars. If you wanted to drive from here to California with air conditioning on and 700 horsepower, you could do it.
Yeah.
And if you want to stop at the track on the way to wherever and throw down an autocross or a road course thing, you could do that too. And it would take it and just keep going. And that was that was the thing we tried to focus on: functional cars that performed as they were built to be.
You got any that rolled through there that were your favorite? Were you guys working on about everything?
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right.
So, I first started working there. My first project was a 69 Charger for a guy, Mohammed, and we call him Mo. Mo. Me and Mo still friends to this day. Anyway, it was a Gen 3 Hemi we got from Arrington, and had, I think it was a 4-liter Whipple. The motor... It made 1,000 horse to the tires. It had a 4 LED trans, controlled by a Holley Dominator. That car, I put a Camaro, the Hydroform DSC subframe under the Camaro subframe.
Okay.
And I made it bolt in so you could take it out. And I custom built the 4-link for the rear. It was a really neat car, but again, that car, it made it couldn't put a bigger smile on your face. You're going down the road at 70 miles an hour, and I'm like, I think I want to blow the tires off this thing. You just put your foot in it and it would do it. And it would stay straight as long as you would hold it. And it was the most amazing thing. The car drove so good. But we put Bosch ABS, Motorsports ABS on it. It had carbon ceramic brakes, forged line wheels, air conditioned Recaro heated and cooled seats. And, it was a luxury built hot rod. It was really neat. But, that was my first build, and that was one of my favorites. But my totally favorite car was a 70 Mustang. Guess that, right?
Yeah.
But a friend, well, I say a friend because we're friends. Anytime you build a car for a guy like that, these cars take about 4 years to 6 years to build, and you get to know these guys pretty good, So. Larry, he had this car he bought in 1975. It was a real 70 Boss 302. It was a 30,000 mile car. He bought it from the original owner. The guy drag raced it and blew the engine up. So he bought it without it. It was a roller. He bought this car to us, and I'm like, he was talking to us about the build and everything, and he shows me a picture. I was like, is that a real Boss 302? He's like, yeah. I'm like, You're bringing me a real Boss 302 to cut up. Rust-free, original sheet metal, original paint. I was like, we're going to do this, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm your guy. So, but it turned out to be a really neat car. The key thing with that car, the coolest thing was the engine. John Mahovitz, the guy that owns AccuFab, and it's at the time we were building that car, I got word that he was wanting to sell the Engine Masters engine he built. This was the 5.4 based 32 valve engine. It was 406 cubic inches versus 331.
Right.
So it had a GT500 block. It was sleeve, Bryant crank. It's a custom Bryant crank, big stroke crank, supercar heads, and a Cobra R intake. That thing in a form made like 800 horsepower. And he changed the cams in it to put some more streetable cams in it, but it still made close to 700 just with the street cams in it. And a lot of people like that. we'll talk about this car in a minute, but they talk about, you put a engine with these components, that should be making 1,000 horsepower. Well, yeah, it could, but can you drive it with the air on? Can you stop at the traffic light? Does it stink? Do you get out of the car smelling like raw gas? Those are all fun things to talk about, big horsepower, but who at the end of the day, if you can't drive it, and like I said, a normal car, that's not any fun. You might drive it here or there and you're like, all right, I'm putting that away. But when you can get in it and you're like, man, I think I want to drive this to work one day, or you want to drive it on vacation, or you want to do whatever, you can get in it and do it. And the motor's going to run good, yes, but is it going to make the max effort horsepower? No. Do you want that? Yeah, it depends on you, but it's just not fun. It's really not after a while, if you're trying to commute with this and just drive it normally, it takes a lot of you sacrifice. Anytime you do something, you sacrifice something else.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so that engine, he tuned it down, changed the cams, brought the power level down, but it made it a streetable engine. And it still was very fast. But put the engine in a car, and I color-coded everything in the engine, the valve covers, even the power steering pump, the pulleys and everything, of what a 70 Boss 302, the engine was same color for color. So when you open the hood, the engine looked like it was supposed to be there, but it was a modern 32-valve engine. But it was really neat. And even my friend David Osborne, he owns Osborne Reproductions. He makes all those little stickers you see for restorations and on the Mustang stuff, like the fan shroud stickers and everything.
Yep. Well,
I had him to make the stickers that went in the door that had the correct tire sizes, like the 345 19s on the rear and the 295 18s in the front. So he put those on there. And on those cars, this was my favorite thing. On the trunk lid, you had the sticker that says Space Saver tire on it, Well, I had one that says, no spare, call a friend. And it looked like the real sticker that went on there. So, it's stuff like that. That was just a really neat car. So we didn't change a whole lot to change the car the way it looked. We cleaned it up as we did. Like you see this one, it's tuck bumpers, flush mounted glass and stuff like that. Nothing that's going to change what the car is. It just makes it look a little better.
Yeah.
But that was by far my favorite car the whole time. And then, there were some really cool projects we got to participate in, like the Hoonitruck. I was the lead fabricator for that.
And what was that? When was that all going down?
That was in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember when all those videos came out.
Yeah. So that happened behind the scenes. We had a surface plate in the shop. We had a canopy company come in and petition off the shop. Had a curtain. I had to work behind a curtain the whole time. Nobody could come in. No pictures. The pictures we had there was the shop camera that we were sending the Hoonigan guys, and that was the most exciting build I've ever participated in. Like you would need something. You'd call the project manager, which was Justin. Him became friends. That's funny. You can't have contact with these people afterwards. You become friends. But you call Justin, like, hey, Justin, I need so-and-so. Well, they would be there next day. How many do you need? Like, I just need, I'm going to send you 4. I'm like, all right. So, nothing was a waiting game with that. It was just how quick could you get it done. And, man, I me being a Ford guy and, just getting to work on that for the project it was. And, I was amped up on 11 the whole time. I worked. Like, the guys at the shop, they're like, dude, you need to chill out. I said, no, man, I'm gonna get this thing done. I'm gonna do this, And I probably myself built 70% of that truck myself. Okay. And and then like I said, there's other guys at the shop. Their specialties was they're painting body or hanging the bodies and making the body panels or stuff like that. They done that, but the chassis work was 100% me. I done the whole thing. I worked with one of the engineers there, Ryan Matthews. You guys got to go talk to Ryan. Yeah. He's got his own business called After Dark Speed. He's into Corvettes and stuff. But this guy, he races every weekend. He's out every weekend, and he's got some fast stuff. But anyway, Ryan was the engineer there. He designed the chassis for all-wheel drive components we use from Sadev, and we landed all that. So basically, he said, all right, the motor and transmission's got to sit here. Your control arms are here. And we had a bunch of laser cut parts, and they come in these tubs, and I had to weld them all together. Had to fixture and weld every piece of that together. And then from there, the cage work and how the body hang on, that's just like, all right, you're just pulling it out of your head from experience, just making it happen and doing it. But yeah, that was really exciting to do that car, with that truck. And we got to go testing with it. And then finally, when they done filming with it, we got to go out to Texas for a week with that. And that was just mind-blowing. You really don't understand how good of a driver Ken was until you see what he would do. He would, one instance, when he had drifted underneath that gas station, there's a column. He had to come around that. He just walked over there. He looks at it. All right, let's do it. I'm like, didn't he walk over there? He just looks at it. First time, he nails it. He's like, all right, we got to get it closer. So that's what they do. They do it a couple times. They get it to where, you know, all the shots you see, the bumper or something, just do it. Well, the second time he got a little too close. He took the whole corner off the truck, you know, and that's what that picture is. You know, we're rebuilding the front of the truck, you know.
Oh, shit.
So he tore the whole front suspension off of it. But we had all the spares and stuff. We got it together. But I was like, dude, this guy is no joke. I've never seen anything like it, you know. And there were several other times he would just size it up and look at it and just go for it and nail it every time, you know. And they would run it over and over until make it more sketchy, get him closer to something where it just barely misses it, you know. And it was just amazing to see that. But
well, he did that whole that one up Pikes Peak.
Yeah,
that's there's no room for error there.
No,
so you better no. Oh shit,
man,
I missed.
I genuinely, he had like a gauge in his head. He could, like, I swear that guy had micrometers in his eyes or something. You know? He could see it. Yeah. But yeah, that was cool. But yeah, when that truck, when we're talking about building it, I had to build the clips where they were modular. So you could we had 3 spare front clips. You could unbolt, put another one in, the same with the rear. And you had to make it so that it could be changed out, so the truck wasn't totaled, per se. So it was, I think some of the drift cars are like that now, too. You can bolt the whole clip off the rear or the front, too. So, but I had to come up with a way to do that efficiently and make it so it was rigid, too. So,
Right.
Were you building all of that simultaneously? So like, or did you build the truck? Okay, now I got to make all these.
That's
other
exactly
panels.
right. So we built the truck, and I was like, okay, I'm going to cut it here. All right, how am I going to make these pieces go back together? So I came up with this thing on the bottom. It was a clevis. It went into 2 or 3, and it clamshelled together. As you tighten it, they were ramped. As you tightened it, it pulled itself together. So I came up with that. And there's stuff. I got the idea from. We sold these cage joints a removable cage, and all they did was just clamp together. But if you put a ramp on them. And some of that stuff, when you weld it draws and stuff, and it's just so aggravating to figure out the heat draw. So with this, as you get in there, if the bolts lined up, as it tightened up, it pulled itself straight. So that's how we done it. But yeah, build the whole thing, cut it there, weld these pieces in, fixture up the spare pieces, and have them ready to go. So, but
And was that for pretty much every side of the truck, or mostly the front clip?
a front and rear. The rear was like that too.
Sure.
So. But the front and rear used the same differential. It was a modular Sadev unit. It was, it was like I guess you call it. It had stub shafts that popped into it, but it was a really, really nice piece. So.
What was the Fox body part on that one?
Yeah, that's the good thing I was telling you guys. Every car that I've built, it became a running joke. What Fox body part was going to be on it. So the inner door handles were Fox body on that truck.
Oh, really?
Okay.
So yeah, so the door handles were Fox body.
You know, I had to ask that question.
Yeah, no, that was it.
Not the outer ones though, because you had to push down and roll. And
No,
get
just
it open.
the inner ones. They were, the 2 finger you pulled over.
Yeah.
So that was the Fox body part on that. So yeah, every car I build has a Fox body part somewhere on it, and it can be as small as a door handle or a clip of something. It's just the part. It became a. The guys over at Detroit Speed, they always give me a hard time because I was a Fox body guy, and I said, all right, well, I'm going to put this. And they come, that's a cool little part. Where'd that come from? Box body.
So did you have to manufacture all of those body panels then from scratch?
So we had to build one set of body panels for that truck out of aluminum because Ford, at the time, they came out with the new F-150 that was aluminum body. So that was a reason for it. That had to have the EcoBoost motor in it, and then it had to have the aluminum body, and it had to be a 77 F-150 because that was the first year of the F-150. And so in 2017, it was kind of like the anniversary thing. So that's one of those items, everybody always says, why didn't they put a V8 in that truck? Well, because Ford wanted to build this one with an EcoBoost in it, and it still made, I think it made like 1,100 horsepower or something. It was the engine from their
GT, the Ford
GT Ford DP program, yes. And those blocks were the front wheel drive, like Explorer motors. That's what they were.
My wife has a Navigator with the 3.5 EcoBoost.
Yeah.
It's a twin turbo V6.
Oh, absolutely.
So like you go at V8, whatever, it's still pretty nasty.
Well, my Transit 350 has the EcoBoost V6 in it, and it's a 350, and I can pull a car trailer with it like it's not even there.
Yeah.
And the 10-speed transmission, the way it's geared, like it's amazing. You'd never think something like that was possible. Back in the early 90s or even older than that.
I'm going to use my Navigator to tow my 96 Bronco out to Michigan in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to have air-conditioned seats and everything.
Absolutely.
While I'm doing it.
Yeah, and it'll do it, man.
Yeah.
It will, as long as your trailer brakes are good.
Yeah, they're good. I got one of those in there.
Good deal.
Yeah.
You're probably going to need to ship your car soon, or know somebody that will. And as someone who used to work in freight logistics, I understand the difficulties of finding reliable transport, especially when trying to make it to rallies, racetracks, or to warehouse to hide your Corvette because you're going through a messy divorce, and when she says everything, she means everything. Anywho, Nick Shearer is the proud owner of Sure Thing Logistics. Having traveled much of the country with every type of vehicle you can imagine, he's got the experience and reliability that you want to ensure a safe journey for your pride and joy. If you want to find out what it takes to ship your vehicle, go to SureThingLogistics.net, fill out the intake form, and be sure to let them know I sent you. Let's get back to the show.
But there's something that a lot of people don't know about, with the handbrake. Okay, that's not just a handbrake, and that goes for the Hoonicorn and the truck. So there's a thing called a peel unit that goes in place of, it goes in line with the rear drive shaft. So what it does, it's about 10 inches long, and there's about 40 clutch discs inside of it. It's about 5 inches in diameter. So there's a controlled hydraulic unit that controls that. Well, when you pull the brake, it does apply the brake, but it also, when it does that, it applies that clutch. It disconnects the rear wheels. So the Hoonicorn and the Hoonitruck are primarily front wheel drive. You have to disconnect the rear so it'll turn and slide. Because think about having a shopping cart with 4 fixed wheels. You can't turn it. So you disconnect the rear, it's how you get it to turn sharp. And then the fronts are spinning and everything. You pull that loose, and it's basically breaking it loose, and you're dumping the clutch and getting it to slide, but you can't get it to turn without doing that. So
that's cool.
But yeah, it's not just a handbrake. It disconnects the rear tires. So
is that a standard system in that kind of stuff, or is that something that you guys had to develop?
So no, that came from Sedev. They used that on the rally cars and stuff.
Okay,
and
that makes sense.
That's how they get them to turn. You see the guys coming out, they hit a handbrake. It's a handbrake, but it's also that peel unit. It turns, it frees the car up so it'll turn really sharp. So.
We just spent 2 hours talking about sequentials, by the way. Because we were just at 6XV over there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Sedev, the guys that made that, they're out of France, but they got a place here in town. My friend Fuzzy works there. If you guys.
Oh really? They have a place out here too.
It's
this state has everything, bro.
It's this town, man. Mooresville, North Carolina. There's only 2 places that work like this in the world: Indianapolis, Indiana, and Mooresville, North Carolina.
Really?
Concord.
So we've yet to make a trip out. Like we've done PRI, but we haven't done podcasts like locals out there yet. So you're saying it's just like that out there?
Oh yeah. There's let's say I want to go I got this car plumbed. Okay. I get everything mounted and everything, and I call up Brown and Miller, and Mike Stipp, the mobile guy, he pulls his trailer up right here at my front door. He plumbs this car, pressure tests all the hoses, and leaves. It's done, And Brown and Miller has an office in Indy as well.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. There's they cater to the IndyCar and the fuel teams and up there.
Right.
Here they're catered to the Cup cars, sprint, stuff like that. And there's sprint cars here too, but there's a lot of sprint cars in Indy. But that's what these companies cater to those guys. So like DC Electronics, the wiring people, they make wiring harness looms. So I can say I want this car wired. They'll build a harness for it. So my son works for Modern Racing. He installs, does final assembly and installs wiring harnesses over there. And they do the same thing, but they build pro mods. I'm sure you guys heard of those. They do a lot of pro mods and door cars and radio cars and stuff. But they're a full-on chassis shop, and they got a hub dyno, but they do wiring there too. And like I said, if you wanted to go over there and say, hey, I need a DTM connector, this color, whatever, they this many pins. You go over there, they have black ones that you can only get black ones from them. They do a process. They turn the gray DTM connectors or the DT connectors black, but you can go over there and buy them with all the pins and everything. You can't any other place in the world. You have to order those offline. Well, they're 5 minutes. You just go over here and get it. And then you have SRI Performance. That's where all my welding supplies come from, all my abrasives, everything. And the coolest thing about that, you can go in there, and you guys got to check if you got time. They got a used NASCAR stuff. So you go in there, it's like Big Lots. Everything, So it's cool. Like I'm working on something, I'm like, dude, I need a bracket, something to do that. So I go over there and rummage around, and I find what I need. And it's, it's surplus pricing. They don't use it anymore, and it's there to get rid of.
So it's like a NASCAR junkyard type thing? Yeah.
It's not so much that. It's just like used parts bins and stuff. You never know what's going to show up over there. And but this town is so full of that,
All right, I'm moving here.
Like raw materials, like the Camaro behind you, all of that tubing. I just made a list, and I just drive over there and get it. Or if it's a lot, I'll just say,
awesome.
hey, you guys drop this off tomorrow. And it's like, what do you need it? What cut do you need? It's like, they'll do a cut list for me. It'll be here tomorrow. And it goes, I don't care if it's titanium, aluminum, steel, whatever, they have it, in Concord down there, you can go to Profab headers, and you can get header tubing, that's, 30 minutes away. There's nothing without a reach of getting something done here. That's the reason Detroit Speed moved here from Michigan. They moved down here because of the resources. And when he did, that was the bottleneck of anything, getting stuff done, getting it available in a timely manner and making things happen. Well, here it's not like that. It caters to all this stuff. So it's really neat living here.
Does that help you kick some of these builds out a little bit quicker too then, because you're not waiting on stuff as much?
Absolutely. So when building stuff like this, you got to be thinking 3-4 steps ahead. Just keep busy. You're like, okay, I need to order one of these, or I don't have this. I'm like, man, I got to order that from here. That's going to take 2 weeks. Like, man, I got to get this going. So what else can I be working on? Well, it's not the case. I was like, all right, in the morning, I need to go over there and get this, this, and this. And you're starting to work, and it just keeps rolling. Yeah, absolutely, it does. It speeds the process of getting things done quickly. And there's a lot of things. Like I said, I'll go over to SRI. They sell a lot of new parts. You go over there and you're looking through the bins. You're constantly keeping a visual catalog of the things that's like, okay, that's cool. I can use one of these for one of those when I do another one, something else. So, you got to keep that mindset of looking and finding those little specialty things, and those things are only available in this area. So there's a lot of, and that was the thing at Detroit Speed when we were building cars there. There's a lot of things that people took notice on the projects page. It looks say, hey, where did you guys get that? Well, we get them from CNR or SRI or CV products or something like that. And it's just a really neat thing.
last time we were down here, we had Pro Wire on. And,
Yeah, Abdul.
Yeah,
Yep,
and
yep.
that whole community that we drove into.
That's right.
At the racetrack, then all of the shops there, you could buy or have a race car built and
Yep.
then race it on that track, and it would never leaves
Absolutely.
that facility.
So what people doesn't know, when you pull into that part, there's a place called LDI's on the left. All right, so every NASCAR team or any race team around here, even Detroit Speed and all, they use that guy. So what that guy has, he laser cuts flat plate and CNC bends product, and it's very nice stuff. But that guy he pretty much owns the town in some sense, you know.
Okay.
Everybody uses him, you
Yeah.
know, and it's just amazing that the stuff that comes out of there that you're able to do. But that race park is pretty cool. So you have Abdul, the wiring guy. You have KB Racing, which is
Are they in that park
they
too?
are too. Yeah.
Okay.
So they moved there because of the drag strip. So they were using that as Greg Anderson and Jason
Yeah.
Lyon were using that as their test facility right there because it was right there, you know. So, but yeah, KB Racing's over there. They build pro stock engines, and Greg runs his pro stock operations over there too.
Who's the guy I was talking to from G Sport? From like whatever the emission system was, his name like Mark Latino or something. I don't know. I was trying to get the. They make like the Jezzy cats and all that stuff over there, or that's like one of their facilities. Yeah, but that's a tangent. But yeah,
But yeah, you're completely right. So
Yeah.
there's another guy down there. It's Nitro Manufacturing. Nitro, they have the contract to make all the templates for NASCAR, like the gauge templates to put on the body and everything.
Oh shit. Okay.
So they make them there. So he also makes surface plates too, like to build cars on.
You mean those templates like to make sure cars are within spec?
That's
that
right.
Stuff? Okay.
Yep. Yeah. He makes a lot of that stuff down there. So, you know, there's all these little businesses in that business park, and then on this side of town too. You know, you got Motec here in town. You know,
They have a satellite out here?
yeah, they're here in
Oh.
town. Yeah. So, but it's just
Y'all got a yellow pages I can look at? God damn.
yeah, for real, man. But it's just endless, man. It's
Yeah.
like if you're into doing this stuff, building race cars or hot rods or anything, this town is catered to that.
Sure.
You know, so
Well, touch on support a little bit, right? Because I can't imagine it's just always you in this shop, right? Do you constantly have people come and helping out? Or how's that typically
yeah,
work?
my son, like I said, he works for Modern Racing over there.
Sure.
He comes and helps me out. And my younger son, Charlie, he comes and helps me a little here and there. He's 15, and you know he's getting into this stuff, and you know he helps me a bit. But you know, and I got another friend of mine that worked with me at Detroit Speed. He went out on his own, and he does residential fabrication stuff like brass handrails, steps, fireplace, just all this crazy high-end stuff in big houses. But
Oh, like those stupid swirly stairs?
yeah, he
I
does
hate
all
those.
that. So
Spiral staircase.
dude, he's building.
Swirly stairs, yeah.
Yeah, that's it, the McDonald stairs, playground stairs.
Yeah, there you go.
I can't. The spiral stair. I
Yeah.
can't. No. What's wrong with going straight? Maybe taking a right.
Takes
Nothing
less
wrong
space.
with it.
Or
anyway.
a fire pole.
Yeah, less
you know?
space
Yeah,
for
yeah.
my.
Stripper pole.
That's only for going down though. Yeah.
Anywho,
But Matt comes by and he gives me a hand on some stuff like the IROC behind us. You know, I was like, hey man, I'm going. Let me tell you, these cars have no reference point on them at all.
What do you mean?
The frame rail from each side to the other is not the same on the car, not at all. And I'm like, you know, I'm jigging this up, I'm measuring stuff, and I was like, dude, this is not mathing out, and I am going crazy. Now you're here by yourself. And you're looking at this thing and you're getting pissed off at it.
Sure.
And you're like, fuck this thing. You know? So I was like, hey, Matt, you got a minute? And he don't live far away. He's like, yeah, what's up? I was like, could you come over here and help me look at this thing? He's like, yeah. So he comes over here. We draw some plumb bobs up and everything. And it's a fresh mind. You know, he looks at it and he's like, no, you're good. You know, you're good. I was like, good. So, but, you know, it sucks sometimes by yourself, but you got to have that second person or second view.
right.
You gotta have them. You gotta have what is that? The game show. You gotta have a call on a friend or whatever.
Yeah, phone a friend.
phone a
Yeah.
friend. Yeah.
He's on speed. He's on standby all the time.
Oh, I'll do that stuff all the time with my dad where we're working on something and I'm trying to put a bolt in up here, and I'm doing a header and I'm trying to start a freaking manifold bolt and I can't get it and I'm running. I get pissed off, I get off, I throw the wrench. My dad walks in there and goes, "Choo, choo, choo, choo." It's like, son of a bitch. Sometimes you just need to step away and let somebody else try
That's right. Yeah. No, that's right. No, and that's the worst. You guys say I work from home. That's the worst part about doing this is there's no separation. I'm 50 feet from where I live, so I come out here and work and whatever. There's no windshield time, to forget about it. So
to calm down before you go.
Yeah, so that's the worst part about it,
Sure.
And losing what day it is. That's the worst.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Like, what's the day? So
I thought it was Saturday 2 days ago. My mom's like, "You are way off."
Yeah. So you're just not away from it. Your mind's always on this, always on it. So
okay. So how does this happen, right? So you're at Detroit Speed for 11 years or something. At what point did you decide that, all right, it's game time, I want to do my own thing? Were you kind of doing stuff on the side a little bit?
I was doing things on the side, and at the time, I was supporting my oldest son was racing mountain bikes competitive.
Sure.
We were doing a lot of traveling and stuff, and I actually built him his 2 race bikes,
Okay.
And we were competitive with him. He was successful, but I was doing side work at home, kind of funding that and doing whatever I wanted to with the kids and stuff. And then, like I said, Holly came in and basically dismantled the company, and a lot of us was let go, or a lot of us was just left on our own, and I got let go. So it was an eye opener. It kind of sucked there when all that was going down, but then tons of people reached out to me that stepped out a long time ago and just like, dude, that's the best thing that's ever happened to you. You're going to be fine, and it has been,
Who is there a person or a voice during that period that kind of like pushed you towards that?
So absolutely. I do side work for a guy named Zach Ingram, and that he has a shop in Indiana called Z-Rods.
Okay.
And at the time, he commissioned us to build a chassis for a truck they're building. And you've probably seen this. It's a 67 C10. It's a full carbon truck. Everything's carbon.
Was that like SEMA or PRI?
It was, yes. And Zach's shop, his guys build that truck. They have the molds and everything. They built that thing from scratch, And at the time, I got let go, and I called him and said, "Hey, man, let you know if you guys need any help with something, let me know, And he's like, you guys come on up, you and Matt. And Matt left the same time I got let go. And that was a funny story. They let me go, and Matt's like, "You're letting him go. See y'all later." It ain't gonna work without him. So anyway, Matt's he's a good soul, man. Me and Matt's really tight. Me and Matt went up there, and he's like, "I need the cage done on the truck. We're gonna finish mounting the body. Tons of things. We're thrashing to get this thing done."
And this is in Indy, you said?
Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Knox, Indiana.
Okay.
So it's northern Indiana.
Yeah.
It's pretty far up there.
So you travel up there, and how long are you up there for?
I was there for about a week.
Okay.
And in that time, you go in there, and Zach's shop was just so laid back. His guys are super nice. It was just because what me and Matt were used to, it was always just tension every time. And a corporate entity does not need to run a hot rod shop. Doug Cook with Motion Raceworks, he was on a podcast with
Spaghetti, probably?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he talked about that whole deal, and he hit it right on the head. He understood it. He said it, and he's the first dude to speak out about this crap that went on.
I didn't listen to that episode. What did he say?
So he basically called it out how the corporations are buying all of these companies and running them to the ground and ruining that industry. Mm-hmm. They are single-handedly ruining the industry.
Sure.
And I'm probably going to get yelled at for this, but I don't care. They ruined Detroit Speed.
Sure.
They did. Well, QA1 owns them now. So QA1's bought it. They're bringing it back up to where it should be. They're doing the right things. But Holley, they've done more than just Detroit Speed. They've done several other companies that way.
Yeah, they were gobbling them all up.
Oh, they were.
Yeah,
and, they really hurt a lot. And the amount of people that I knew that worked at these other companies, even at Holley, that got let go, man, just because of numbers of some sort. These dudes work hard every day. They contributed to making these companies what they were. And then it's just like, we don't care. They don't care.
That is strange when a corporation takes over. Like, it kind of sucks the passion out. Like, listen, this profession's already as hard as it is to make a buck.
Yeah.
Like, no shop owner gets into it to make a buck.
Oh, they don't. It's not. It's not. They do this because we like it.
Right.
This is what we do. We can't do anything else. We would, I joke a couple of my friends. I was like, man, I want to go flip burgers and do some mindless work. I'm burnt out.
Dude, I miss shipping packages sometimes. Just mindless packages all day.
But then as you're sitting there flipping burgers, what's your mind thinking about?
Yeah.
Race cars.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can't get away from it. It's ingrained in you. If you're in it, you're in it.
Sure.
You can't get away from it no matter what you do.
Okay, so you go up there for a week, and what are your thoughts at this point?
And me and Matt we were still pretty sore about that whole thing, whole fiasco.
Well, this is still probably fresh at this point.
It was, really fresh. So we go up there, we work with Zach and those guys, and we're like, dang, man, this is what it's really like. These guys are like, this shop is totally different than what we were used to. And we go to lunch and it's like, dude, we're looking at each other and we're like, we were kind of pissed because we've been drugged through the ringer all this time dealing with stuff. And
we kind of have like these velvet handcuffs. Like, it's good enough to not leave, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And we're looking at it was like hell over head all the time. You're working for Detroit Speed. You guys should be grateful.
Sure.
That's not what it. These guys like Zach, and I'll get into this too. So we were up there. Zach's just a genuine dude. He gets us up there, and we had a bunch of conversations about a lot of things that it stepped you mentally back a lot of things that you go through, and we talked about that. And Zach's been at those places, and Zach's done those, and he talked. We talked some stuff. He's like, dude, you got to move forward. I get my guys in here. We do this and stuff. I was like, man, that's cool.
And how big is his operation, or at the time?
He's got a pretty big shop. He's got, I think he's got about 15 employees there.
Okay.
And they build carbon bodies and stuff for people. He's doing stuff for the new speed. He done some stuff for Steve Watts. Build the new Speed Demon car. Mm-hmm. They're out there at Bonneville with it now. Zach made some stuff for that. He made a bunch of stuff for Rad Rise by Troy, Jesse Greening. All of these predominantly roadster shop. He does a bunch of stuff for roadster shop. And Zach's like, look, dude, I'm not here to work against you. We can do this together. We're a team. We're an industry. We need to work together. We need to make sure we're all successful. Mm-hmm. And that's that dude's mindset, But when I was up there, and I'd never been to Troy's shop, and Zach knows Troy very well, and he's only an hour from him. I was like, you think we can go up there and visit? Because I'd like to see some of the stuff they're building. He said, absolutely. We go up there. Again, we walk into Troy's shop. In my eyes, Rad Rise by Troy is the top of the pyramid. They're the best car builder in the world to me. They make some of the coolest things. The stuff they have is labeled perfection. It is. You got to see it. So talking to him, he's showing us, he's acting, and the guys in the shop, I was like talking to, how long have you been working here? And they're like years. These guys have been around for a long time, and they're just the happiest people. And Troy's goal is like, look, I want these guys to come in and give me their best and not have to worry about nothing else. And that's what he does for them. He buffers all that, takes care of that. They don't deal with the customers. They don't have to, hey, Matt, how much is this going to be? How long is this going to take? And blah, blah, that. Those guys don't have to. The only thing those guys have to worry about is making the absolute perfect, over-the-top piece that nobody else is doing. And that's what they do every day. And those guys are so at peace. Like, you can just talk to them. They're just so laid back. And their mind's able to be creative at that point. You know, you're not stressed out about corporate meetings and all this bull crap, you know, that comes with all that.
Do you feel like you got that back now?
It's taken me a while, man, to get back to that, you know. And that was a real eye-opener, going to Zach's and going to Troy's and talking to those guys and just seeing how those shops are really ran, and how those guys are really allowed to do the best they can do, you know, without all the drama. So it was that was by far the best thing I ever did, was go visit with those guys. So
it's a pretty common thing amongst most successful shops is it's the team you have, you know, beside you as you're doing it. And you were at Detroit Speed for 11 years. You're a part of what made that shop what it was.
Absolutely.
So when a company comes in and makes you, you know,
it's personal.
Acts like you're, exactly.
It's personal. It is. Yeah. It's personal. You know, and there was a couple of us there. Like a good friend of mine, Paul Morgan. He was Detroit Speed's first employee. He went to work. He stepped out of GM with Kyle and went to work for him in his garage. Moved down here with him, and to see that dude right there, to see watch the company go in this direction and what happened, that guy right there, you could see it in his health, like how discouraged it was for him. And that guy had as much stake in that company as Kyle did. He was the guy behind the curtain, building the stuff, making the things, you know, doing the grunt work the whole time. And, you know, there's a lot of people that don't know that. There's always, you know, like, let's say Bill Gates, really, you know, he's got a big number, but who's the guy that done all the hard work?
Right.
You know, there's always that guy. And, you know, when those things happen, those guys are more personally attached to that stuff than the corporations are, you know, so. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, it's personal, you know, when stuff like that happens.
So now you're what, 2 years into doing this full time yourself then?
Yep.
So I guess what's next? What's your kind of go-to build around here? Is it anything or?
Yeah, anything that comes in the door. So through the Hoonigan build again, the guy that we were using to do some of the carbon work on it, he done the carbon work for him on the Hoonicorn before, so they already had a contract with him, and he's local to us in Concord, Joey Brett, and you know, through me doing this and Joey coming over to the shop, and it's like you build relationships, and like somebody comes in, I was like, yeah, I know a carbon guy, so I called Joey up. He done some things for me, you know, from builds I was working on, and he had a customer come in that had a 1965 6 GT40 Roadster that Ford built that was all aluminum. They only built one. It was 110X. So it's a real car, but there's a long story about, you know, it was dismantled when it was built because it was an experimental car and it just didn't fit what they were looking for. So instead of paying the taxes to ship the car back, they parted it out and sent it back over here. Well, a long time ago, you know, the parts just laid around. Holman Moody had this part. Bruce McLaren had the body, this and that. It was a lot of stuff scattered around. Well, there was a doctor, he set the task to find all these parts and put this car back together. In the meantime, he had a guy named Tex Powell finish the car, which was Tex Powell was Tex Racing Transmissions, Tex Rear Ends and stuff. So he was a really neat guy too. He had a lot of history with Bud Moore. He had some he's a NASCAR crew chief and stuff back in the 80s, 70s, 80s and stuff. He raced a lot of Trans Am Series stuff. He had a guy named Gene Felton driving for him one time. Gene Felton was out of Georgia, but these guys were like hardcore drivers. I mean, these were like grown ass men, you know. So, but anyway, he had Greg, the owner of the car now, had Tex. He got Tex finished the car. But there's a little story between that too, but we won't get into that. But anyway, Joey worked for Tex at one time, and he had his carbon shop, so he still had to build the windows for this car. So the car was there, and Joey was building the Lexan windows for it, and the car didn't have the right set of headers on it. So he's like, "Hey, do you know anybody that builds headers?" And Joey's like, "Yeah." So I do a lot of headers, exhaust work, and a little bit of anything fabrication wise. So I get the car over here, and I build the 180-degree headers for it and everything. Then I built the relationship with the guy that owns the car now, and the car's got the wrong nose on it for the big block. So it needs a long nose. It's got the short nose, which is a small block nose. We're working on that right now. There's a guy named Kevin Grant. He does a bunch of 3D modeling and work. He does a lot of stuff for Ring Brothers, uses them on everything they do, And Kevin is like, you see a lot of people doing renderings of cars, They draw them out. They look pretty good. Kevin does it the other way. He'll take this car, he'll scan it, get every body line has a number now. Like, all right, Kevin, I want to move this body line down 2 inches, down 2 inches forward. He'll do all that and put it in CAD work. And when it's done, everything's got a dimension on it. Everything, every line. It's not just a rendering. It is a 3D model that has dimensions. So that's what we did with the nose. We didn't have the actual nose, so we were working off vintage photos of this car. And I actually found a guy in Europe. Him and his dad had actual photos of this car when he was a kid, and this guy's making scaled model cars out of them. I was like, dude, I found this model car. I told Greg, I was like, he bought it. We got it there. Then we had the model car there. We kind of scanned it and then backed it up with the photos we had for reference. We dialed all the lines in, pulled them in. Well, Kevin done all this. Then before we know it, we have a model of a 3D model of a nose that's basically SolidWorks form. So Zach and Z-Rod's up there, he has a company Fiberforce too, does the carbon stuff. He takes that information and he's got a router that will hold a 10-foot by 10-foot piece of rim foam.
Holy shit.
So he'll route out that whole nose and make a buck. So we're in the process of doing that now. He ordered the foam the other day. When it comes there, we're going to make it out of 2 pieces and put it together, because one that big is going to be hard to deal with. So you have it 2 pieces and you have it where it pins together. So I'll have a life-size buck that's 3D print, CNC routed out of the foam. It's hard, has all the body lines, everything about it is perfect. And we had it scaled down 60 thousandths for the aluminum thickness. So once I just lay it over it and get everything fit, then that's my buck, So I'm getting into that, And then when we're done with the car, I put it on the car, and then it'll be as it's supposed to be. But that's the stuff I get into. And then
the whole if you don't have the part, make it thing. That's on a pretty extreme
that's
scale.
Right.
But
if you don't have the part,
circle.
you make it. That's right. You don't have the part, you make it.
Yeah.
And that's about building these relationships. I seen you guys put a post out in the car community. What was it? The most toxic? What was it?
Most toxic.
Not toxic.
Non-toxic. That's right. The most non-toxic. And I commented on the post. I was like, well, there's a lot of people that overlook the before the car. The network of builders and fabricators. Like I said.
Oh yeah, I remember that comment. Yeah, it's so true.
That. Like I said, Zach works with all these companies because you do it together. If you're successful and they're successful, we're all successful, and it's what you got to be,
That's one thing, ever since I started doing this podcast years ago, it's, I make it sound like I've been doing it for a decade.
You've been thinking about it for a decade.
Yeah. You don't realize, like, from an outsider in the car community, you don't realize how connected these shops are.
Yep.
It is insane.
Yep.
For better or for worse.
Yep. They are. Yep. And word travels fast.
Oh.
If you're a shithead, people know it quick.
Oh,
Very
dude,
quick.
somebody will call up, like we had a podcast happen next day because somebody just put in a referral for us.
Yeah.
And it's like, these guys are good guys, and word travels so fast.
Yeah, absolutely. But so the GT40, once that project's hit off, and then the same guy's got a couple of Ferrari F430s.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, so I built a twin turbo kit for one of them, the coupe. He bought a Spider convertible. It's already twin turbo, underground done it, but it's got an older Motec system on it that's not supported anymore.
Oh.
It's very old system. Underground said, yeah, we can't do anything with that anymore because it had some drivability issues. It's like, hey, we can put a new system on it, So the other car doesn't have. So those cars, you have to keep the factory ECU in them to run the transmission because it's got it's a manual transmission. It's got the F1 controller, so it's a hydraulic clutch and all. It's not really a DCT or DTC, whatever it is. It's a manual transmission. It's converted with hydraulic stuff to make it work.
Kind of like the Audis, right? The R8s.
Yeah. So it's got that, and the computers actually run a lot of the other systems on the car. So you can't really disable it, but you can piggyback on it, and that's when the other car has a Motec on it. So what I've done, he'd give me the intakes off the cars, and I've outfitted them with 2 sets of injectors, a factory injector and a set of Injector Dynamics 1050 XDs. They're super cool injector. I talked to the guy. He said the low RPM operation of the things are incredible. He said I can put one in a jet ski or a dirt bike and it'll work, even though it's 1050 cc. He said I can control it that precisely. So I used a common rail on it. So the one car, the Spider, has another set of fuel rails on the inside. So you have all this plumbing running everywhere. Well, I was like, why don't we just put a common rail on it and put 2 injectors? He's like, can you do that? I'm like, yeah. So anyway, I bought some injector bungs from AccuFab. Got some black fuel rail blanks from Comp Cams. And the injectors, I got those. I don't know if you guys know Brad Brand, Atlanta Chassis Dyno. He actually, I called him up and I was like, he's a tuner and stuff. He's done a lot of crazy stuff, but he's doing a lot of Audis and stuff. I was like, hey man, what injector CC would I need, to run with this and this? He recommended this, and I called Injector Dynamics, and they're like, yeah man, that's what we need. So I just got Brad to get them for me, So done all the fab work on the intakes, and so both cars are going to Modern Racing over here, and they're going to outfit them with a new Fuel Tech system.
Okay.
The FT550 Lite.
Sure. Okay.
So that's going to be the piggyback on it. So they're building a harness for that, and we're doing the injectors with a common rail, and then I'm going to update the pumps and everything. So
sure. And
then they're going to end up Justin over there is going to tune them. So
is there anything that you don't do or shy away from?
Doesn't sound like it yet.
Let's see. Corvettes.
Yeah,
Corvettes suck.
What kind of world is it when your New Balance has got more miles than your car? It's a world where you thought a stock ECU from over a decade ago would cut it, not knowing there's a way to get better traction control, launch control, and most importantly, engine protection features. It's a world where you didn't know you could save 5% on a Haltech plug-and-play kit for your C6 Corvette using code Minnoxide. How's that jingle go again? Go to tunedbyShawn.com to get your Haltech goodies and see what's right for your build. Whether it be a C6 Corvette, a Supra, or any other project you've been cooking, there's a solution for you. Link in the description. Let's get back to the show.
They're only good for their parts.
I'm going to use AI to be like, Corvettes are the best ever. Just plop it in there.
Suck. Yeah, Corvettes suck. They're only good for
a
their
particular
part
of a vehicle. It seems like you're able to do everything, or you just stick to the fab stuff, or?
I don't do wiring because I understand it, but I'm not any good at it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's why you have friends that do that.
Sure.
I send it over to Modern Racing or something.
Right.
They do wiring. They do really good. But yeah, I don't mess with that.
Otherwise, you'll do the rest.
I'll do anything else. So, as you guys see in my kid's car, we want to put big brakes on it, And I got
You
those
guys like your big brakes around here.
Oh yeah, you can't have enough brake,
I don't know,
man.
those look pretty small.
Yeah.
Y'all love going in
Those,
stuff.
those are custom too, you know.
Yeah.
I welded the spindle and made. That's just a bunch of parts I had laying around.
Okay.
You know, just
Man, that's so
low
cool though.
bulk.
Like just be like, fuck it, I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
Right.
So our mutual friend Rob Bowen, we got to call him out because he get his feelings hurt at the parts for him. So he hooked me up with those S550 brakes for my kid's car. You know, I fabricated a spindle so we can put all that on there. And I think said and done, you know, Rob hooked us up with the brakes, and I bought new rotors and pads from the parts store. I think I got like, I don't know, $150 in that brake kit, you know.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, 4-piston, 15-inch rotors. You know, it stops. You know, it's actually too much brake. You'll wreck it if you don't understand it. You got to hear panic stop. You look off in a ditch.
That sounds a little familiar. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody else do that?
Oh no, I took his GT500 on a track and
flat spot the
I
tires.
overdrove it a little bit. Everything was fine, but
No fires though, right?
no.
No.
I just I almost went into the grass.
Oh yeah. So you understand that? Yeah. Too much brake.
Oh, you didn't know that?
You mean the car I got from Rob Bowen?
Oh yeah. No. All right. Enough about Rob. He'll
Yeah.
You don't want to give him too much credit.
Yeah, well, he doesn't need any more ego or anything.
Yeah, that's
probably.
right. That's right. But yeah, no, I'm a challenge for anything. I like a lot of the things, and build on what I talked about, the network of people. There's a like in a mainstream, there's a bunch of people that have, you know, get talked about a lot, you know, and that's cool. But at the end of the day, there's guys out there that they're real deal, you know. And I'll reference again, like Steve Watts, the guy that owned Maxwell Industries. He built Speed Demon, and he's got the new car going out there. You know, that car holds the world record for the fastest piston-driven car on Earth. You know, these dudes are smart. You know, you can call them up and like, hey man, I'm trying to weld. I got this aluminum and it's this and this, and he's like, well, here's what you got to do. You know, you go through the steps and tell you how to do it. You know. You're not going to go find that on TV or the internet. You know, you're not going to find that. Or when I done those spindles for my kid, I called a friend of mine. His name's Scott Mock. He's the old welder out in Kansas. You know, hey Scott, how would you go about welding this? I don't mess this up. And he goes through the steps. He tells me. He's not telling me I can't do this or you shouldn't do this or that. No, these dudes don't do that. You know, these guys come from that generation before that you can buy all this stuff. They were having to make speed parts, and that's the coolest thing. There's a lot of people getting away from that. They don't realize that Detroit Speed subframe right there. They don't know that derived from. There's a guy named Mark Stilo that's an engineer at GM. Okay, him and Kyle Tucker built a car to run one lap with. Well, the spindles and stuff went right. You know what they did? They cut them up and welded them. Welded the spindles up, made the spindle what they wanted so the car would handle right. You know, the car's still running around today.
Stilo, that's the pro touring guy, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm going to get hit with him. I call him Camaro Jesus.
I got his book recently. I still have to read it or whatever, but somebody recommended I reach out to him. I need to get him because we're gonna be in Detroit here. Week after next.
And he does the same thing. You know. He's got a network of people, and you know, Mark's a smart guy. Mark can put together the right people to get what he wants. He can't do these things, but he knows people that can, you know, and he reaches out to them. And that's sell a lot of, and that's the other thing too. You kind of gets on my nerves with people bringing like this guy bringing this. He wants me to build this car, you know, and it pays all this money to build the car. Well, good. You know, that's good for me. That's good for you guys too.
Yeah.
You know, what's the saying everybody says, built not bought or whatever the hell? Yeah. Fuck off. You know? Yeah. Fuck off. You know, that dude, he can't do it, but he knows people that can do it for him, and he knows how to do it. You know, that saying needs to go away. It does. It's bad for the industry. It's bad for people.
Oh, I've been saying this forever, dude. I'm like, are you trying to put every fab guy out of business over there? Yeah. Like, you go do it yourself then.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't be saying that.
Or it's just in anything, you know. It doesn't matter. These guys, we do this because we like it. And this guy comes to me to build this car. I'm not just building his car. I'm building my car too.
Well, the other thing is too, right? Like, if it was just for you, you would take 2 years to put on the parts you got on discount at PRI. I mean,
Yeah.
it'll take forever. You know,
yeah.
it's just.
So,
But somebody comes to you with a pocketbook and they're like, "All right, I want this." You make it happen, and you have the money. It makes sense.
yeah, man, it's the same thing. So here's the other side people don't realize about it. These parts, like I said, those derive from people doing, building things on their own. Okay, how do you think that got here? You got CAD work stuff now, but how do you think those parts got there? You got Ed Escadurin. That dude, how old's that guy this year? He's like 100 and, it's his birthday. What is it, 110 or something like that? The dude's old. Yeah. But back in the day, man, what is he, welding camshafts up and making things? And before you know it now, heck, that he's, you got stuff that's made that way. It ain't welded stuff, So it's evolution of how we got here,
Do you think that, are you seeing any young guys, or do you think that it may spark back up at some point in time? Or do you think as your speed dial list that you're naming off right now, as these guys start to get older and
they're all
whatever,
doing podcasts now, Dan.
Is it a dying art?
Man. They're it is in some sense. Like I follow a lot of shops on Instagram, and you see a lot of them go through where like, hey, we're hiring guys in the fab shop. They're all the time hiring, looking for talent. And it always says pay based on skill set,
Yeah.
So, that tells me that they're looking for guys that can get stuff done. And I wished I could say, I see, my kids are into it, It's like I was born into it. They're around it. This is second nature to them, When my son went over to Modern for an interview, Justin was like, I don't need to talk to you. I know who your dad is. I know what you do. And, he started to work. He was like, I'm like, that's a good bit of confidence, So, but yeah, I see that's the problem is a lot of people are getting out of it. So yeah, there's a generation coming up, but it's not as strong as it used to be.
Right.
And I don't know how we're moving on from it. I can't say that we're straying away from it because now you got a lot of the import guys. They're into it, and there's a younger crowd. Those cars are a little cheaper, and you get younger kids that's able to buy them, and they're doing things to their cars. And that's another thing that pisses me off is seeing groups and stuff. A guy posts a picture, even in the Fox body stuff.
Yeah.
A young kid gets his car. He goes on there, he posts a question. Me and you know the answer to that.
Yeah.
It's easy. But he doesn't know that. And these dudes are just ripping this guy's asshole and making fun of him. You know what he does? He doesn't ask questions no more. He doesn't reach out anymore. It discourages him. And you know what? When that happens, what does he do? He gives up.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to help him because he figures like, man, these guys are assholes. And that goes back to what you were saying. And that's with all the cars. I mean, these guys need to fucking stop. Just stop. Help these guys out. Help these kids out. Who the hell do you think you were when you were 15?
Yeah.
You were that dumb kid too.
It's funny because most of the time, so like I know an absurd amount of shit about Ford stuff. I can name off part numbers, VIN numbers, engine code, shit like that. And I think it's really cool when somebody asks about it. Like if you had your car at a car show, like I can tell you production numbers, when it was made, stuff like that. I love to share that information.
Absolutely.
And I don't understand why more people, like, why are we trying to gatekeep?
You talking about Ford? No.
Yeah, right? So, like, I get excited for that kind of stuff. The fact that people can just tear somebody down for that shit is crazy
and
to me.
it's, throwing off on a guy's bill because he's got these set of wheels or whatever.
Yeah.
So what, man? You know what? The guy's out here doing it. He's doing it.
I'll rip on the OEMs time to time, but I think that's everybody.
The only time you don't want to share that information is when you're buying something that somebody has that's really worth some shit that they don't know
That's
about.
right. Yeah, that's called the bargain. What's the?
By the way, what you just told me, that's the only set of wheels ever made.
Art of the deal. That's it. Art of the deal.
Yeah.
Or what about that bumper that Henry bought last time we were in North Carolina?
Oh yeah, what was
He's like,
that?
oh, that's like a super rare bumper. He's like, I'll give it for you $300. He's like, fucking done. He fucking had somebody fly out there.
Damn right, man.
Yeah.
No, man.
It's like a $3,000 bumper you got for $300 or something like that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
$100 or something.
Speaking of bumpers and 94 to 98 Cobra front bumper covers, come on, man.
Yeah.
You see how much those things are bringing? Well, they're not reproducing them. But.
What about the stupid amber taillights on the Cobras?
Dude. So, Rob had that 94.5 that had the amber taillights in the V6 car, and I was like, ooh, those are worth more than his whole yard is.
Yeah, my dad's 99 Celine Cobra has them, and every time we're moving it around the shop, I'm like, just watch out for the taillights.
Yeah. Now, the guy, the friend of mine in Norway, I messaged, hey man, do y'all have these taillights over there? There's junkyards over there, and I sent him pictures of it, and he's like, well, I don't know. I was like, well, you got any friends that's into Mustangs and stuff? And he's like, well, I'll ask. Yeah. I was like, see if you can find them. So. Because they're common there.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait for this car to be done, dude. This is such a good looking car.
So let's talk about this car a little bit. Yeah. So this car belongs to a guy in Norway. His name's Eric. His son is, I think it's Ole, but he races WRC. He drives Red Bull sponsored Volkswagen. And those guys are crazy drivers, man. I don't think they have a fear of one in them just watching them. But anyway,
well,
they're probably somewhere where there's less rules too, so they can be a little more ballsy.
Those guys. I watched some of his stuff on Instagram. He's racing and stuff. I was like, just insane amount of talent and skill, and just I don't know. I guess it's the ability to react quickly, But anyway, so Eric had me to build this car. He had me to purchase the car. I got it out of Arizona. So this is all original sheet metal. Except for the door, I replaced it because the door was like somebody rented the fence post. It had big rips and stuff in it. I couldn't fix it, so I put a door skin on it. But Detroit Speed, aluminum frame, quadrillink in the rear, the subframe connectors, the wheel tubs in the back. It's got a floater kit on the back for it's a C6 floater kit. So if you understand what that is, conventional axles, the axles bolt in, you have a bearing on it. Well, this uses the same hub pack on the rear, and it's got a floating axle.
Oh, okay.
So with this, you can actually run ABS if you wanted to because the exciter ring's still on it. But the brake package it uses all Corvette brake stuff on it. So, but these are Bear brakes here, 6-piston. I got those from Rick Elam. Good dude, man. He runs Bear brakes out there in Arizona. But anyway, it's got a Bowler 256 6-speed package in it. The engine, small block Ford 427. It's got a set of the Hemi heads on it. Hydraulic roller, vintage air front runner, air conditioning. Again, we talked about earlier, this motor could make 1,000 horsepower if you wanted to. But this thing has air conditioning. It drives down the road. It don't trailer hitch. You know what trailer hitch is? The Kim's so big going down the road and it's kicking your ass, So it ain't going to do that, But in the torque curve on this engine, say at 1,000 RPM, it's already at like 400 foot-pounds of torque, and it just goes all the way up. If the motor makes like 670 and 580 foot-pounds of torque, But the 500 foot-pounds of torque is from about 1,500 all the way up, So it's going to be a very nice drivable street car. So, but, I tucked the bumpers, shaved the drip rails, flush mounted the glass, and I use stock glass. So if you ever have, there's manufacturers out there that make oversized glass and stuff, but there's things about it that I don't like. It's not bad stuff, but there's just things that I'm building a car. I get to choose,
Yeah.
So, I use a stock glass. So say he hits a rock going down the road and it busts the windshield. Well, order an oversized glass. Oversized glass, let's say I think they're like $600 or something. Well, that thing right there is only like $150.
Oh, really?
So, I done all the work to make it flush mounted and bring it up, but it's a stock glass. The same for the rear. So, but there's a bunch of neat little trinkets I showed you guys, like flush mounting the marker lights. These 70, this is one of my favorite things about these cars is marker light because it follows the body lines and stuff so much. So I was like, I'm not going to do away with it. The rear marker light's a 68 Dodge Dart light. And the reason to use them is why the Dodge, you ever seen the AC Cobras? You know what the marker light that is? The bigger AC Cobras. They use Mopar marker lights in their rear. So that's what but it's still Ford I did, but anyway, the door handles, I had those machined out of billet stainless. They're not quite half the height of the original door handles, but those are Troy at BBT Fab, he helped me out with those. Like again, it's a network of people. I call him up, he does them, man. And I'm like, he made it happen. You know, it was like the coolest thing ever. Nothing easy, and but yeah, you wouldn't know those are stock. Those weren't aftermarket, you know. So, but yeah, it's just a bunch of cool things like that on this car. So.
So then when it's all done, you gotta ship it out to him then, or what?
Yeah, so it'll go up, and I'm having Zach up there at Z-Rods. They're at Indiana again. He's going to do the paint and body.
Okay.
He's Ed, his painter and body guy's Ed. He's going to do all that, and then once it's done, I'll have to assemble the car and drive it, and we'll put a couple thousand miles on it and make sure all the things are on it, nothing falling off.
That sounds like the worst part of the job.
The worst part of the job is the last assembly and driving and tuning is the absolute worst part. It takes forever, man.
Yeah.
Who does the tuning, by the way?
There's several people that we use. I use. I got a friend that he's a mobile guy. He's a big LS dude, but he's in Georgia. It's Eric Evans. He Queen City Speed. He does. Me and him go way back, He worked with us at Detroit Speed a little bit, so I'll probably get him to tune on it a little bit. And but this one has a Max ECU on it, not a Motec, not a Holley or anything. So the reason is Max ECU is Holley over in Europe. That's really big over there for them.
Okay.
And it's very similar to a Motec from what I've understood. But yeah, it's. Max ECU actually has one ECU that's developed that'll control. It'll do the standalone engine. It'll control the BMW DTC transmission too. I forget which is the M7 transmission.
Whatever's in Gus's car, I think.
It's a 7-speed or something. But there's. Yeah,
is it the ZF? Whatever it is.
I think it is or something. But anyway,
my brain's lasagna.
Yeah,
right now.
no, there's so many of that stuff going on now, man. But that they make an ECU to do that. And one of these days, I want to do a build of one of those transmissions. I just think Kyle Cutchins, he's building a Corvette. He's putting one of those DTC transmissions, the BMW ones, in it. Mm-hmm. He's there's another company. I think they're Sweden. They have a standalone computer, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's a standalone or they took a BMW one and dissected it. But anyway, yeah, Kyle's building that Corvette with that transmission and that controller. So I've been watching that, and it's really cool. But Kyle
with the BMW trans?
Yeah.
Well, what's that company that we're having on in Detroit area? They do DCT.
Fuck if I know.
They do the DCT stuff. They take the BMW DCTs and put them on EcoBoost.
Yeah.
So they got adapter plates and harnesses and all that shit that they're doing.
Brother, I know the answer, but it is not available at this moment.
I'll find it while we keep chatting. You texted it to me. I'll look real quick.
Is
it Gem? It was Gem, something with a J, right?
I don't know.
Let's
keep chatting. I'll find it.
Yeah, sure, you got it.
Yeah, that'd be I really one day want to do one of those in a car, Sure. It'd be really neat. So.
I love seeing the stuff where people just throw stuff together that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Are you like, for example, if somebody puts an LS in a Mustang, does that break your heart, or are you cool with it?
No, I'm just over it.
Over it. I understand over it. I understand.
I was like, yeah, dude, you done something really cool.
Like an LS swapped rotor, like car that's supposed to have a rotary in it. It's like everybody's done it.
I'm like,
but damn it, does it work?
Well, there was a term for something overdone. It was called. I saw it posted as called LS, and they used the term. I thought that was funny, but it was just too much. It's just whatever, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be that way, but it's like, it's what the guys are into.
Sure.
But personally, I'm not gonna go over there and take it in and look at it. So.
I was gonna ask you this while Dan spends the next half hour. He's not.
I'm about to give up. So
he's not a good looker upper.
Yeah.
What are you most proud of?
I don't know. Having my own shop, I guess.
Yeah.
Being able to do whatever, if you get an idea to do something and just do it.
Sure.
And having the network of friends to lean on. That goes a long way. You can't do this by yourself. At the end of the day, you cannot. You can have your own shop. You can be on YouTube, you can have this show and this and that, but you can't do it by yourself. You got to have those friends that has your back and help you out.
Sure.
You know, and having a good network of friends is probably what I'm most proud of at the end of the day. You know, because they understand it and they're there for you like you are for them. So.
Sure.
Gem Sport, GEM Sport.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I almost said righteous gemstones. That would have been a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I should probably finish.
Anyway, if they're, that looks like they've got some stuff. I'm excited to talk to them because I'm going to pick their brain on that one
that's
too.
some neat stuff though. Yeah. But like your car has the Tremec one in there.
Yeah.
You can buy that transmission from Tremec, but there's not a controller for it.
Right.
So there's a guy, his name is Ed Seniff. He's out of Georgia. He does a lot of Motec tuning. He works a lot with Oscar and Motec guy up here in Charlotte,
Okay.
Can't think of his last name. But anyway, I talked with him about possibly building a controller to run that Tremec transmission. And he says, yeah, I could do that. I was like, well, what are you talking? He's like, probably 25 grand.
Yeah.
He said, let's just get started. I'm like, no. The reason I say that is I had a 66 Chevelle a while back, had a Speedtech chassis, LT1 dry sump, and he put a 10-speed in it, but I was trying to talk him into putting the Tremec DTC transmission in it and doing that way because he's going to track. He's building a car for his wife, a track car. So it's a really neat car. But she's got a BMW M whatever with that transmission, and she was talking to him about it. And I was like, well, we can put one of those in the Chevelle. And she's like, really? Can you talk to Matt about that? I was like, then Matt's like, no. So. But it's and all things is possible, just if you got the money and the follow through, So.
Yeah. What's the time? So, how long is this one going to take before he gets it? And so you'd said something that builds can take 4 or 6 years.
Yeah.
What does your turnaround look like here typically?
On a build like this, from start to finish, these are about 4 to 5 years from the time you start on it to the time the guy gets it.
Okay.
They're 4 to 5 years. So, and it depends on how complex the car is. So, like the car I talked about earlier with the '69 Charger, that car was very complex. It had climate controlled, heated, cooled seats, ABS and stuff. That car, we had that car about 8 months just sorting it out after it was put together, making tweaking things, fixing things. One problem I had with it was the power steering would lose power steering assist at a certain RPM, turning into a hard corner. Normal driving it was fine, but we put the car through the paces like you guys talked about the post with the rest of the Corvettes and the Mustangs on the Nürburgring. Well, those GM engineers, they put those cars through everything. So that's what we'll do with this car. I mean, we'll be nice to it, but we'll go through the paces. We'll take it to a road course or something. And we'll run it through there because we don't want this guy to have any problems with it, or never. Well,
it's not like once he has it, he can just be like, hey, come check this out.
That's right. And here's what you run into with these kinds of cars. This one in my eyes is not a very complicated car, but there's a lot of high performance things along with it. So if he has a problem with a car, he can't take it to the mechanic shop down there at the end of the road. You got to take it to someone that understands how things work. So there's that too. So you have to proof these cars and go over them and make sure they're 100% before the customer gets it.
Do you give them? So I've talked about this before with other shops that do this kind of stuff that you're doing here, because like you said, you'll have Mustang brakes here, Corvette stuff here, whatever. Does the person get a cheat sheet afterwards and be like, okay, if you're going to O'Reilly's, here's what you need to say.
Absolutely,
okay,
yes.
I need these from an '86 Monte Carlo. I need this from this.
That's absolutely it. So doing invoicing and stuff, you go to O'Reilly's and you get whatever for it. The part number's there. There's a folder that every piece of paperwork that I get from buying stuff off Amazon, I might get little clips or something, or go to the hardware store, or go to the parts store, raw materials, everything is in a folder, everything. and I do a photo share app too. So I'm taking a bunch of photos of everything. There's photos there you wouldn't post on social media. It's just stupid things, But the reason you do that is you back up what you bill. So I bill weekly. I got a sheet. I write down everything I've done that day and the amount of hours I have in it.
Yeah.
That's all backed up with pictures, on my phone. I load them up to that photo app. And then at the end of the week, he's excited. He sees all these pictures. And I post some on social media so he can show his friends and stuff. You filter out show the good stuff. But he sees all that. He's excited. He sees the bill. He sees, all of that. It's transparency. You got to do that, man. And one sound piece of advice I got from a guy when I came in doing this, he told me, he's like, it was Justin Elks, the guy that owns Modern Racing over there. He said, only thing I do is do what you say you're going to do and be honest about it. That's easy. As long as you do that, he said, you'll never be out of work. So
I've literally built my entire what I'm doing off of it. I have never advertised. I've never had a website. No. It's all just show up and say what you're going to do, and it gets you. That's way,
right.
Way
you do
far.
what you say you're going to do.
Yep.
And but that's truth, man. Transparency is where it's at. You can't. There were some scenarios from projects long ago at a place I worked at. The project manager would get a customer in and tell them the car was going to cost this, and there's no way in hell you could build that car for that.
Yeah.
And it was a bait and swap thing. You get them in there, and there's all of a sudden, you're $100,000 over a budget. Well, how'd that happen? You can't do that to the guy. You can't do that. That's not good business. He's not going to be a return customer at that point. You can't do that. It's just not. You can't. So, but yeah, that's and unfortunately, there's a lot of that out there. There is. So, but yeah, just be honest and move forward and do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah. Which is also a hard thing to find in this industry too.
Yeah. Yep.
Sure I don't know. I mean, yes and no, right? Because you think about how many rooms we've been in with some badass people.
I'm sorry,
too.
It's not hard to find, but the overwhelming amount of hacks that are out there is
and especially for the average Joe.
Right? Yes.
If you don't know what to look for, that's for sure.
Yeah, and here's something too. People come to you for your experience and your knowledge.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
When we're doing this stuff, like the guy I'm building the IROC for, he came to me because he's like, I want to put Corvette rear suspension. I want to run a Super 8.8 out of a GT350 in the rear. I want to narrow the track width so I can run a normal looking tire in the back, and I want to put the Detroit Speed clip in the front. I want to run an LT1 dry sump, and I want to do this and this and this. And I was like, okay, well, I can do that. I didn't say I don't know if I can do that or not. No, I built a skill set to be able to do this.
Sure. Right.
And I didn't do it on my own. I had help. I had guidance. I had these people. I elaborate on that again. I had these older people with experience to bounce these questions. You can't do it. I say it again. You can't do it on your own.
The next episode of Drop is with Nth Moto, so be sure you're subscribed and be sure to turn on notifications so you're letting know when this episode's out. Let's get back to the show.
Mm-hmm. You got to have a network of people. But, that's how you get there. And, people come to you for experience, knowledge, and know-how, so.
Speaking of skill sets, what are some of the more difficult ones that you had to learn over the years?
Not being so abrasive.
That's fair.
Good luck.
With people,
Yeah. That comes with the territory.
Yeah, so, working, young guys would come in the shop. You give them 6 months, and then after 6 months, it's motherfucker time. I done showed you this once, showed you it twice, I ain't showing you again. And, it's time to get with it, man. Time to get with it. These guys, shops pay, your labor rate's $100 to $150 an hour, depending on where you're at. The dude's coming to you, paying you $100. Would you pay $100 an hour for that? That's what you tell the guy. Mm-hmm. No, I wouldn't. Well, why did you do it then? And you just got that's what I struggle working with some people. it's not my fault you're stupid.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I like there's welding videos that I watch every now and again where they rate them on what they would pay them an hour on their welds. I think that's kind of funny how you do it. That's like an $8 an hour weld.
Absolutely, you know, absolutely.
It's kind of a good way to put it in perspective for somebody, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that builds the skills. The best thing that can teach you more than anything is learn how to fix your mistakes. Mm-hmm. That gets you through. If you're not afraid to mess up and you know that you can fix your mistakes, you can do anything.
Well, and then don't make some bullshit excuses either. Own it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Own it. If you messed up,
that's probably the hardest part.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, playing the blame game. No, you messed up and figure it out and move forward and fix it. You know, move on from it, and you learn a lot from doing that. You know, so mistakes are not necessarily a bad thing. You just you learn from them and do them, and makes you better. You know, so.
I do. Making a mistake doesn't necessarily piss me off, but doing it twice really pisses me off.
Yeah.
I've seen you miss exits.
Oh, that's different. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
The kids yell at me.
That's what I'm thinking about something else. I just cruising by, or my wife's telling me where to go.
Oh yeah.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, but heck yeah. But yeah, no, it's you build a skill set and don't be afraid to try things, do things, ask for help, build a network of people, helps you out.
What's a mistake you think the younger, somebody new to this field may be doing?
Not listening.
Okay.
You know,
asking a question but not listening,
or not even answering the question, just doing things and acting like they know it, and you know. And just not asking the question, or a guy walks up to you and says, "Hey man, that looks pretty cool. How did you do that? What are you doing it with?" And they tell me, I was like, "Well, we hadn't had any trouble with that before." I was like, "Well, that's fine. Just because you hadn't had any trouble doesn't mean that's the correct way to do it. There's proven ways and reasons why you do things. And I fall guilty of that too. When I was younger, nobody told me shit. I knew everything. And you mess things up, you fail, or you go to somebody's shop and like Rad Rides or whoever, and you see something and it's just absolute perfection. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, how did you do that? Well, you got to do these steps. And there's a steps to doing things that you don't skip. You can't skip. When you do things, you cannot skip that step to get to the goal. Mm-hmm. And some of these things, and that's something you got to learn, And some of these younger kids, my kids have friends. They come over like, I want to get into doing this. My oldest son Corbin is 20. He's got some friends that come over, and it's like, dude, I like to learn how to y'all do these things. And Corbin knows how to weld, He comes over here and the kid's like, can you show me how to weld? And the kid's over here trying to weld and stuff. And Corbin's like trying to show him. And it's like, no, man, you're not listening. You got to do this, then this, then this. They don't want to take the time to listen and do the steps. They want to get to the final goal.
Yeah.
So, but I won't say that's a new generation. I just think that's with anybody. You just got to learn to listen. Man.
Part of being young too.
It is. It is.
Dude, I'm learning like I'll use a awful example here, but like for example, I tried to teach myself the guitar when I was in freshman year in college, right? And I learned a lot, and now I'm going back there with like a different mindset, and like my entire world's just exploded. Like I learned how to learn. Yeah. Right, and that's the thing is like people just don't know how to learn.
Yeah. That's right. You just got to learn how to learn.
No, for real.
Listening's free, man.
Yeah.
So.
I get frustrated with my kids. I tell them I'm sending them to somewhere to go get something or go do something, and they take off halfway between. I'm in the middle of explaining to them, and they're already on their way. I'm like, all right, now come back over here so I can finish telling you.
And you're like, what was I saying?
Yeah. Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn, I had a good one. I lost it.
Sorry.
Damn. I blame Dan.
Oh no.
It happens.
Oh, I got it.
All right.
So anyways, okay. So obviously you've been at this 2 years. What is the next 2 years? What is the next 5? What does the next 10 years look like? Do you stay here? Do you move? Do you grow?
That's the other thing too. So I'm 46 years old, and I tell a lot of people I'm 10 years too late to doing this for myself. I feel that way. I was like, man, I don't have the hustle I used to. I don't. You're getting older and you're just tired. And this stuff, believe it or not, this stuff's rough on your body. You're bent over for hours doing something. You're doing stupid things you shouldn't be doing. Your back's messed up, your knees messed up, So there's always that thing. It's like, man, should I be looking to work for another shop? Should I go somewhere else? And that could be a possibility. And like I said, I work with Zach up there at Z-Rods and stuff. I go up there and do stuff for them. And who knows? You might end up there, or might continue to do this. But it's a never-ending projects. Need people coming in wanting something done. It's never ending.
Do you have a waiting list right now of some people?
Oh yeah,
on
I
it?
do.
Yeah,
I do. So and that's what I told them. I was like, look, I'm one man. I can only do so much, And,
well, when do you bring some people into this, or will your boys join the business?
Yeah,
or?
they made your own. Come on, get them in here.
You cannot have your kids working for you. It doesn't work. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Just like you can't work for your dad.
Yeah. My dad and I own a business together, so it's but it has its moments. Yeah.
So, but I don't. If you can separate yourself,
Yeah.
If you're in a confined shop all day long, it's like OCC all over again.
Well, it does work that when we go to work, we have our set things.
Yeah.
I know he's doing what I know he's doing, I'm doing what I'm doing, so like we don't have to talk much, so which is what helps a lot.
Yeah, so that's the worst part, And again, people bring me some stuff to do that's kind of out of the ordinary, to build. It's not, like I said, I don't build show cars. I do a lot of different things, work building a custom exhaust for a Porsche a while back, and then, welding up a set of cylinder heads for Matt Crafton. He had he's got a dirt car. The outer cylinder head bolts, or a set of Yates heads, they were collapsing from the heat. Mm-hmm. So I had to weld all that up and machine that down, and building just stuff all the time. That's the cool thing about it. You never know what somebody's wanting done, and it's always cool, different products. Building a twin turbo kit for the Ferrari, or building the nose for the GT40.
You don't see people doing twin turbo Ferraris ever either.
Yeah. So you never know what you're getting into.
Sure.
And finding someone to help you do those things is like, okay, like, I need you to get this Ferrari in here and we're going to do this. Oh, I don't know how to do that. I don't know where do I start, So, but yeah, there's never a lack of anything to do. But that's just what I'm worried about. Is I feel that I waited too late to do this on my own, I had people for years telling me, you should be doing this on your own. You should be doing this on your own. I'm like, man, I can't do that. I have no business doing that, Mm-hmm. And I just figured I can't run a business. I can't do that, And that was the worst thing I ever told myself, and the worst thing I didn't do is take advice of some of these people and do it sooner. And mentally, I would have been better off, and financially too. After I realized how much I was making the other people.
For sure, I bet.
Yeah, that was disheartening. I'm getting all the profit now and stuff, and when there's nothing wrong with that. These guys have these businesses. They take a big chance. They have to pay a lot of stuff.
Sure.
But
you're not. Your rate is very good, so you're not. It's not like you're out gouging anybody. Or doing anything.
No. I'm $100 an hour.
Yeah.
And and as I tell people, I'm not in a parts business. I don't mark up parts. That's not for me. That's I don't. It keeps me from having to get into when you do tax stuff. When you sell stuff to make a profit, you got to pay taxes on it. Well, I don't have time for that. I'm a labor-based only business, and and I tell the guys, like, I'll order the parts for you. You got to reimburse me, and I use my credit card and I charge them the rate and everything else. But and I'm still charging the time for me to doing that. So I'm actually getting paid to do it. I'm not doing it for free, but you know, and it's just me, and I'm not ordering a whole bunch. I'm not spending tens of thousands of dollars a week or so. So
well, now when you have everything handmade, is
yep. So, but it simplifies a lot of things by doing just labor based only. So, but.
What you thinking? Did you want to pop the usual 3? Or do you have a couple more
You
in the
know,
can?
I'm really enjoying this conversation, but this chair is hurting my ass like you wouldn't believe.
You need a pad?
This entire time. I have that what I call Hank Hill ass. It's all shoulder blades to heels, man. There's no cushion there.
Or cotton.
That's why I have a belt, because I got no ass keep my pants up.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, I think it's time, huh?
Sure.
Yeah, now that we've just...
I woke up a little bit about 45 minutes ago. I don't know if you saw at one point I did one of these. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I felt a little like woozy. I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Let it rip. And then we'll do a Minnesota goodbye for 45 minutes.
Yeah. All right. So this is going to be interesting. So at the end of every episode, we like to ask our guests to pick 3 cars. I need a daily driver, a show car, and a track car. You can weld whatever you want together. It can be 14 cars in one. You have an unlimited budget. What are you doing?
95 Lightning daily driver.
Okay.
It's not a blue one, is it?
No, it got to be a black one.
Are you leaving it alone with the 351, or are you putting turbos on? Are you doing something
No,
else?
I'll leave it alone. I put a manual swap it.
Okay.
Manual swap it.
Yeah.
And change the wheels. Wheels are gaudy.
Yeah.
You know. Daily drive, you know.
Yep.
Track car, show car. Buy a 2000 Cobra R and a 93 Cobra R. Take the 2000 Cobra R stuff and put into 93 Cobra R and make one car from the two. Sure. So it'd be a track car and show car. That's 3 cars, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, technically, he would only have a pile of parts left over, so he could. That could be just his track car.
Yeah.
If that was your only track car, let's pretend you threw away the rest of the Cobra, the 2000 Cobra.
So then
R.
that would be the track car then.
That'd be track car. There you go.
Right.
So what's going to be the show car then?
Well, the 93 Cobra R with the 2000 Cobra R drivetrain. That'd be the show car.
So then what's
no, let's say that. That'd be the show car.
Sure.
Okay.
Track car would be the 2000 Cobra R body with a
Guy doesn't waste anything. I like it.
What I would build a big inch Cleveland motor in it.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah. Big inch Cleveland motor with a DTC transmission.
Okay, sure.
You know, live axle, because the independent would be in the 93.
Yeah,
sure.
So live axle, you know, something like that. Yeah, something not too, I don't know, not too crazy.
Sure.
But
nice. I like all those. I put an 03 Cobra IRS in one of my 93 Cobras that I'm building right now. It's you say it takes 4 to 6 years. This one's taking me 10 to 12.
So I worked for Greg Brigham, which owned Mustang Parts Specialty many years ago, and we had a wrecked 03 Mach 1 came in. It had 5,000 miles on it, automatic, white automatic car.
Yep.
And that's the rare one of them, you know, white automatic. But anyway, had rear end damage, totaled the car. So we had a little, it was a 91 coupe. I was like, Greg, won't you let me put the Mach 1 drivetrain in the coupe? Because he had the coupe sent off and got it painted silver.
Yeah.
And he was going to put it back 302. I was like, Greg, let's put the Mach 1 drivetrain. And he's like,
You just swap the K member right over, everything just bolts right in.
I did.
Yeah.
And then I was like, he had a 01 IRS up there on the hill. I was like, let's put an IRS in it. He's like, okay, do it. So Mach 1 automatic IRS and everything in it, and built this car from parts on the yard. And that was so fun, going up there, picking parts off cars and building this car at the yard there. And it turned out pretty good. It was 50 Mustang done an article on it. They call it the Mach Fox. You have to look it up. Yeah, it's
dude, I'm definitely gonna look it up.
It was a cool little car.
It's such a crazy 79 to 04. Like the fact that all of those cars like right into their bones are the same fucking car underneath.
Oh yeah, they are.
They look so different.
Yeah, there's not many. Now, the 01 they changed the floor pans. You know that when they went to the 3650, they're higher. So the floor pan where the seat is, it's got a higher tunnel in it.
Okay.
It's 01 to 04 is taller right there.
Okay.
So
Sounds like you could fix that with a hammer.
yeah, yeah. I don't know why they do. I don't know if they. I don't know if they done that for the IRS of the 01.
Yeah.
Because it's mid 01, they put that transmission there. But I think they might have done that for the IRS. But yeah, the trans tunnel in 01 to 04 is different. It's taller than the other ones.
I don't know. I'm building I'm trying to kill the 2.3 turbo that's in my 88 turbo coupe
You ain't
right
gonna
now.
kill that car.
I know it's hard, man. I'm really.
He's been trying.
I've been beating the hell
tough.
out of it, but I've got a 2.3 EcoBoost that I want to swap in it. But that's again, that car underneath is all Fox body. So
My dad's got a crate Raptor motor.
really.
Yeah, if you want to buy it, brand new.
Yeah.
Well, that's a question. So you're what's your pops do then?
He's retired. Yeah,
Just fun projects on the side or what?
he's disabled, so
Okay.
he just piddles parts, buys and sells stuff. So
Sure.
he don't really build anything, but he's got a lot of Fox body parts,
Yeah.
tons of stuff. Yeah,
Oh,
Dan, we got a Volvo over there.
know.
We could fill that fucker to the top.
yeah,
I've already got a lot of Fox body parts.
yeah,
You gotta start using some of those.
I think between his dad and we probably could build a fucking shit ton of cars.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, we go down there and my kids, we're rummaging through the storage buildings and finding stuff when we're building their cars. You know, it's fun. It's like a memory bank. You go in there, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that part.
Yeah.
So,
well, sweet dude. Where can people find you?
mainly on Instagram.
Sure.
Yeah, it's GeForce Fab.
Okay.
You know, and or my name, Mark McDonald.
Sure.
So
Yeah, I just kind of so funny. I was like, what was it? Thursday night? No, Wednesday night. They keep commenting on my Facebook post. I think it was about the 01X
Yep,
or whatever.
yep.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, damn, I have one more slot open. Let's do a podcast. So that's
Yeah.
kind of funny how that kind of worked out, last minute. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you making it happen.
No, I
That
hope
was awesome, man.
I didn't bore you guys too much.
No, you're
no.
good, man. That's it's the result of our own lack of proper sleep.
Yeah,
and
to be
all
honest
that.
with you, we would be a little more lively normally, but it's been a long day.
All right, this would be a 15-hour podcast.
Well, let's
for
do
me.
it again. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am convinced I'll be coming back. Like we're about to go to Detroit for our 4th time this year. I
Yeah.
think North Carolina is going to be another one of those regulars.
Yeah.
I'll line some guys
Sure.
up for you guys, and like I said,
You folks are awesome down here,
Yeah.
man. It's the hospitality down here is just it's
where
next
you
level.
guys from?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. You know
Yeah.
Dan Schoeneck?
Yeah, I was gonna bring him up.
Yeah, was you?
So my 2015 GT that I had before the
Yeah.
GT500, I popped a motor in it. This was my learning curve of trying to figure all this stuff out, and
You
I
still
didn't
have
have
to
enough
learn.
fueling. Anyway, torched the cylinder, and so I was about to order a short block from. Holy crap, Michigan, the big name over
Dan
there.
Millen?
No.
Oh,
Ah,
I don't know.
I love
Jesus
Lemon
Christ.
Mills.
Anyway, I was going to order a brand new short block from them. And then I just real quick reached
Livernois?
out.
Livernois, yeah,
yes.
that's
My
Dan.
God, man.
Yeah, that's Dan
Yeah,
Millen.
he's a Dan, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that his last name? I
I
don't
think
know.
it's Dan
Okay.
Millen. Yeah.
So anyway, and then I was like, I'm just going to reach out into some of the pages and see if anybody's
Yeah.
got something later on. And Dan Schoeneck was like, hey, I have this fully built MPR motor that I was going to do this with. And he's listing off everything is in it is what I need. I was going to basically go back to stock,
Yeah.
but this one's all built. So he was super helpful. I went down there, picked it up from him, got it in the car, and then I needed head work done. And he's like, let me make some phone calls. He's calling people. Like, normally get head work done takes
dude's
forever.
got a network.
Oh, yes, he does. Yes, he does. He is Disco Dan. He is,
That's
he is
it.
good
Why haven't
shit.
y'all had him on your show?
Dan's scared to message him.
No, I talked to him. The problem is he's a busy guy too, so like trying to get it all to align is hard.
Well, he's doing that new engine. You've seen the
Yes.
Calliope motor.
Yeah.
He's doing that.
Yeah,
insane.
yeah.
That is insane. You know. So.
Every time I also think about hitting him up, he's taking like a 40-hour car ride to go pick up some Ford GT parts.
Well, you see, you got that S7.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
took it on a road trip, and it's raining, mud, and everything in it. And he
And he drives that fucking
Oh,
thing.
he don't give a
Oh, yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, everybody giving him a hard time. Just look at this rich dude faulting. It's like, you don't understand. Dan's not rich.
No.
He's irresponsible, right?
Yes. I go into it. The first time I walk into his shop, there's like 4 or 5 Ford GTs just laying there, all in
yeah.
different parts, and take it apart. We go back in there to get some other parts in the back, and there's one that's got 2 inches of dust on it.
Yeah, he don't give a shit.
Nope.
Yep. But no, I mean, y'all got to hit him up. You know.
No, I've been talking to him. We're
Yeah.
gonna make it happen.
Funny guy, man. You gotta.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's wild. He's a wild dude.
Well, that was the other thing is I was working with a tuner, and I was having trouble getting a hold of him. And then Dan's like, well, let him know that I'm here and that you're on my dyno and blah, blah. So as soon as I dropped Dan's name, all of a sudden this guy was very fucking responsive.
Yeah, Dan will call your ass out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff.
Well, hell yeah, man. Thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah.
How do my outros go?
Yeah.
What do I usually say here?
See y'all next time.
No, we're not there yet. No. No, we already did
Where
that.
do people find you?
We already did all that.
Oh, we did? You didn't ask me. It's okay. Nobody wants to find me.
Yeah, well, Mark, thank you very much for
Oh,
having us.
dude, no, I'm excited you guys come by and listen to me rant on about stupid shit.
Dan, thanks for existing, and we'll see y'all next time. See, I figured it out.
Yeah,
I figured it out.
You got there.
Thanks again for watching the show, guys. Be sure to go into the description down below and check out all of our sponsors. They are what make this show possible. It allows us to travel the country and talk to some really cool guests, so be sure to check them out, support them just like you support us, and see y'all next time.